Okay, chapter 8 is the conics unit, and today we're talking about the circle. So we're going to find the distance and midpoint between two given points, and then we're going to create our own equation. So finding the distance and midpoint, these two formulas should look familiar to you. We've seen them before. Distance is equal to the square root of x squared minus y squared, quantity squared, sorry, plus y2 minus y1 quantity squared. Midpoint, add your x's, divide by 2, add your y's, divide by 2. So distance, of course, is a length. Midpoint is an ordered pair. So we're going to start off with the easy one here. The first thing I do when I get ready to work these problems is to identify what x1, y1, and x2, y2 are. So let's start over here. So x1, I just usually let the first ordered pair be the x1 and the y1, and the second ordered pair be the x2, y2. It doesn't really matter, though. You can move them around if you want to. It doesn't make any difference. Okay, starting off with the distance. So the distance is going to equal the difference of our x's. So x2 is 3 minus x1, which is a negative 2, quantity squared. And then y2 is a negative 4 minus y1, which is 5, quantity squared. And we're just going to clean this up. Minus a negative, of course, turns into positive, so this is 5 squared. And then we have a negative 9 squared. And keep going here. 5 squared gives me 25. And a negative 9 squared is 81. Make sure when you're entering that in your calculator that you put parentheses around that negative 9 or you're not going to get the right answer. Okay, adding these two up, we've got 25 plus 81. Gives me the square root of 106. Okay, now 106 is not a perfect square. It's not on the white list, and so we would try to see if we could divide out anything on the white list. And I think that this one does not go down any farther, so the square root of 106 should be our final answer on that. So that's our distance. Okay, using the same ordered pairs, this time we're going to find the midpoint. Let me grab a different color here. Okay, so the midpoint says to add your x's and divide by 2, and add your y's and divide by 2. And it doesn't really matter if you're adding, which way you add your x's or y's, because we still are adding, so it doesn't make any difference. Okay, so midpoint is going to be negative 2 plus 3 all over 2. And the y's are 5 plus a negative 4 all over 2. And we reduce down, we got 1 over 2 and 1 over 2 again. And we can just leave our midpoint like that. Same exact thing on this problem, except we have fractions. X1, y1, x2, y2. And to do our distance formula, x2 is 3 halves minus x1, which is a half, quantity squared, plus y2 is a fourth, minus y1, which is a negative 1, quantity squared. And just start cleaning these up. 3 halves minus 1 half is 2 halves, which is just 1. 1/4 minus a negative 1 is just going to turn into plus 1. Well, 1 is the same thing as 4/4. So 1/4 plus 4/4 gives me 5/4. And then don't forget to square it. Just keep reducing down. 1 squared, of course, is 1. 5 halves squared, remember we have to square each piece, so that's 25 over 4. 1 plus 25 over 4, that's the same thing as 4 over 4 plus 25 over 4, so we get 29 over 4. And this actually can break down to square root of 29 over square root of 4. Square root of 29 is not going to break down anymore, so we leave that one alone. Square root of 4, though, of course, becomes 2. So there is your distance between your 2 points. All right, midpoint, we're going to add our x's. So my x values are 1/2 and 3 halves. And then we have to divide by 2. And then our y values are negative 1 plus 1/4. And divide those guys by 2. Okay, to our x's, 1/2 plus 3 halves is 4 halves, which is 2. A negative 1/4, excuse me, negative 1 plus 1/4 is 3/4. And then we have to, excuse me, negative 3/4. And then we have to divide by 2 on that one. And then if we just keep reducing down a little bit, 2 over 2, of course, is 1. And a negative 3/4 divided by 2 is a negative 3/8.